every day. Look like you're wearing a dress.
Hello everybody, and thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe and like button if you like my videos. I just watched a news announcement from the state of Kansas where Clark Hunt has decided that in 2031 they'll have the Chiefs playing out of a brand new stadium not too many miles away from where Arrowhead is now, but on the Kansas side of the border. So in other words, they'll still be in the Kansas City area, but they won't be playing on the Missouri side of the line. And it was a little bit of reflection on my part. I've never been a Kansas City fan. I've never been to Arrowhead Stadium. I remember when I was, I don't know, about 10 years old or something like that, when there was the big thing on the TV was they had a Chiefs game with them playing out of the new stadium there at Arrowhead. And then I heard a couple years ago they were going to have to get involved in a Arrowhead, renovation project, or they were going to have to build a brand new stadium. And I think the Chiefs wanted a dome stadium. I'm just absolutely sure of that. But nevertheless, a stadium that opened in my lifetime is now going to be going by the wayside as far as having an NFL team play in it. They could use it for a whole host of different venues. They could have rock concerts in it. They could have college football games in it. Oh, the list of what they could have in it just goes on and on and on. After the Chiefs leave, I should say. But that leads to the next problem. The reason why they wanted to go with the renovated Arrowhead Stadium on the Missouri side of the line where they're playing now, just outside of St. Louis. Or I'm not sorry, outside of Kansas City, I'm sorry. But the Chiefs, and like all these football teams, they're expecting the taxpayers to pay for these stadiums, and then they get so much revenue off the ticket sales and all this other stuff, because the municipalities always own them, just like Arrowhead's owned by I think the county government there in Kansas City, Missouri. And this new one's going to be the same over on the Kansas side. And the reason why is because the taxpayers of Kansas are going to foot the about $3 billion cost to build the Chiefs their new stadium. So in other words, the Kansas City Chiefs are not building the stadium. It's not going to belong, the stadium's not going to belong to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to belong to the taxpayers of Kansas. What I understand is they're passing what they call star bonds, which is a bond that the entire state has to pay for. So the Chiefs are saying, if you want us to stay here, you either have to renovate Arrowhead, which the taxpayers turned down the tax increase. Well, then all at once, when they did that, the state of Kansas said, well, we'll build you that new stadium, which I guess is going to be bigger, and it's going to be a dome, so you can use it. You could use it to host the Super Bowl if you were so inclined. The bottom line is the taxpayers are going to build a $3 billion new stadium not very many miles away from the old one, but just across the line into the state of Kansas. Because you have a Kansas City, Missouri, you have a Kansas City, Kansas. And they're going to end up being on the Kansas City, Kansas side of the line. I don't blame the taxpayers in Missouri for not wanting to pay billions of dollars for a stadium that in reality could just have minor maintenance done and be used, for another 50 years. And I understand this. The state of Kansas just wants to do it is because they have no professional sports, and they want to build the Kansas City Royals a new stadium, because where the Royals play is right beside the Kansas City Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium is now. They sit side by side. I've drove by it, I've never been in it, but I have a major problem with taxpayers paying that kind of money to build a football team a stadium. Now, I understand everybody doesn't feel the same way that I do, but my opinion hasn't changed. I think those football teams should be getting their own loans and building their own stadiums. But yeah, that ain't going to happen as long as they got places like Kansas willing to put a $3 billion stadium. That's all I have for this one. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.